which are found over here on the table. If you want to pick up an agenda, you'll know where you are in that. Is there anyone here for public comment? Have one comment for Mr. Johnson. Did you want to comment today?
Good morning. My name is Pat Johnson. Y'all know who I represent.
Why don't you tell us anyway? Everyone does.
Do what?
Why don't you state who you do represent, please?
My name is Pat Johnson. I represent the victims across the state of Texas who are victimized by this agency's licensees and non-licensees, and who are re-victimized again by this agency at the conclusion of the investigation. Now, after watching the last meeting, I didn't make it because I wasn't feeling well, but I feel good today. And watching that case with signature, it's clear to the public that some of you up here, and I'll specifically say you, Mr. Denton, for sure, and Mr. Moses, y'all wanting to pander to the towing industry on that signature case where staff cited them for an unauthorized tow. An unauthorized tow violation should be the highest penalty on the matrix because the victims, they've already lost their car. They've already spent that $250, $300. And you want to cut them some slack because, well, we don't know the answer to this. We don't know the answer. Has been on the book since 2009. The notification for expired inspection stickers was changed for a specific reason, because towing companies would go out and sticker these cars in these apartment complexes and run all those registrations and provide that service for free to the parking facility. So the law was changed so the towing companies wouldn't go out there and just start towing cars on the third or the fourth day after the fifth of the month and put the responsibility on the notification on the expired inspections and registration stickers on the parking facility. And that attorney kept saying, well, the towing company don't need to run the registration. It doesn't have anything to do with the registration. This continuous pandering to the towing industry, Mr. Denton, and your involvement in Montgomery County with the Millsteads and the other ones up there that continuously rake the coals of the public on towing issues. That advisory board is stacked with people who do not represent the bulk of the industry. They represent their own interest. Now, this dragging things out, these investigations out, when someone files a complaint, you've got so many processes in place that from the time of the complaint to the final closure of the case might be a year, year and a half. So when you ask consumers to, come on, let's file a complaint, nothing happens overnight, and sometimes it might not happen over 6 months. Here's a case right here, guy's military gentleman out there in El Paso. His vehicle got towed by one of your companies that you fined $5,000, $6,000 for, and they got there and they reoffend, and then they come up here with their attorneys and they want y'all to cut them a break. It's your duty. Who do you represent? Do you make decisions based on Governor Perry? Or do you represent the public of Texas? Or do you represent the licensees who out there who obey the rules? Or do you represent the people who rape the public on a daily basis? It's getting to be insane. Y'all are supposed to represent the people. You are a regulatory agency, and you pander to these criminals. Now, I believe, and a lot of people believe, until this agency gets a new executive director and gets a whole new advisory board up, a whole new commissioner staff, not so much you, Deborah, and not so much you, Luann, but Miss Norman, Keeley, and Mr. Moses, and Mr. Denton, Mr. Rabby. I can't say anything about you, sir, because you haven't had an opportunity to be corrupted up here like the rest of them have, because you're supposed to make decisions that when staff comes up here and recommends a fine for somebody, we need to stick with that fine, and we don't need to be cutting them no slack. We got good employees in this agency. Good employees that do their best to protect the citizens of this state. And don't you think that for one moment when the governor was out there on the presidential campaign, the people in those states did not hear about Perry's job for pedophiles, about their regulatory agency issuing occupation licenses to registered sex offenders and convicted felons. You want to clean up all these job industry trades and give the public a service that they can provide. So I can call John Q Air Conditioning to come work on my AC, and I don't have to worry about a pedophile showing up with an AC license because you voted to give them a license. It used to be back in the 70s you couldn't even hold a state license with a felony. All I'm saying is we're tired of it. The public's tired of it. And you have an obligation, Mr. Denton. Who do you work for? You work for Governor Perry? Because evidently you don't come up here and work for the citizens of the state of Texas when you want to continue to pander to the public, to the towing industry. The towing, there's good people in the industry, and what are you doing? You're pandering to them. Just like the towing statute. When the whole issue about the booting, y'all allowed yourself to be influenced by the towing industry lobby for to benefit your own sake and benefit their bottom line. Now we got signs out there that look so awkward from what the original format was because you took their advice. You got an advisory board advising you on their bottom line, not what's the best interest for the public. If they had their way, then we wouldn't have any regulation. And the regulation is to protect the public, and that's what y'all's jobs are. So when staff comes up here and says, we're going to deny this license because this person here raped someone's little child, well, I'm not going to reoffend. Well, you have absolutely no way and possibility to know that someone's not going to rape someone's child that just got out of prison for 15 years for rape. Use good common sense when you make decisions, because that could be your child or your relative. The licensee's going out to their home or going out there to pick them up on the side of the road at nighttime. And do you want your children riding in the front seat of a tow truck with a registered sex offender? Or do you want a child molester showing up at your house to do electrical work in your home? So we gotta quit playing politics with people's lives. Bottom line, the rules are in place for a reason. You're an agency to regulate. You need to regulate instead of pander. The rules are in place to protect the public, and they will work if you would just support your staff out here. And when they come to you and say, we're going to reject this application, it should be reject the application. We got an unauthorized tow. They tow all 5 cars. And getting back to Signature, and I filed a complaint today after the last meeting against Signature, asking staff to audit their records, Signature, since 2009 to see exactly how many victims we got out there that their cars were towed for expired registration stickers. That was a big scam for the towing industry because that'd make them $75,000, $80,000 a month to be able to go in there and just tow cars. People wake up the next morning, go to work, driving a 2010 vehicle, and they got an expired registration sticker. And why my car didn't get no notice? It's the parking facility's responsibility to send that notice, not the towing company. So, staff, y'all doing a good job. It's insulting sometimes the decision the commissioners do to y'all's work up here. And let's hope, we can only hope this changes. Because it's the public y'all hurting. It's our business environment you're hurting. Who wants to come engage in organized crime and be regulated by a bunch of people who want to pander to criminals? What's good for one ain't good for the other. So remember, Mr. Denton, you really should consider stepping down, because you are a disgrace to the state of Texas and to the people of this agency and to the many licensees that you've issued licenses to who don't deserve a license. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'm glad you're feeling better. Is there anyone else that wishes to make a public comment?